The diplomatic mask. The Galactic Concord Arena was the size of a small moon. Its walls shimmered with shifting colors, each hue representing a major species. Thousands of diplomats, warriors, and rulers filled the vast circular chamber. Some floated in shimmering pods, others towered with armored scales or crystalline limbs that clicked softly as they moved. All eyes were fixed on the glowing center stage where the newest species, humanity, was about to speak. No one expected much. Humans were young by galactic standards. No grand fleets, no psychic abilities, no ancient bloodlines. Their home world was barely industrialized by alien measurement. Their technology was primitive. Their political influence was microscopic. And yet, they had done something no species had ever done before. They asked for a seat at the Concord table. The request shocked the galaxy. No new species had dared ask for that in over 10,000 cycles. Most waited centuries before suggesting it. Others never tried at all. But humans? They had been in space for just a few hundred years and already wanted influence. Insane. Ambassador Celine Ward stepped onto the Concord platform. To the galaxy, she appeared calm, polite, and curious. A perfect diplomat, soft-spoken, emotional, expressive. They didn't know she was something else. They didn't know every human diplomat was also one of the most lethal covert operatives Earth had ever trained. Because humanity had learned early. In the galaxy, diplomacy was not a shield. It was a weapon. And behind the polite smiles of alien empires lurked assassination attempts, coercion, and hidden threats. Earth adapted. Earth always adapted. Celine bowed respectfully. Her dark hair glimmered under the artificial starlight as she greeted the assembly. Honored delegates, she began, her voice warm and steady. I speak on behalf of the Human Union. We come seeking peaceful partnership. Soft laughter rippled through the hall. Not cruel, just amused, like watching a puppy bark at a lion. The Vocari High Inquisitor leaned forward, his obsidian mask reflecting Celine's figure. His voice was like scraping metal. Human, Earth offers peace? How quaint. Peace through weakness. Celine held her smile. We prefer peace to war, yes. The room buzzed. Weakness confirmed, aliens thought. Then a whisper spread. Perfect prey. A dozen galactic factions had already planned to take Earth for its resources. Some wanted its oceans. Some wanted its strategic position. Some simply wanted a slave species. Humanity knew all this. Humanity knew everything. Because long before sending diplomats, they had sent spies. Quiet ones. Ones the galaxy never detected. Ones who listened and documented and sometimes removed threats quietly. Celine's smile never broke. The debate continued for hours. Alien delegates asked why humans thought they deserved influence. Why they thought they could offer anything to the galaxy. Celine answered every question with perfect calm. But beneath the arena, far below the diplomatic floor, an explosion rocked a maintenance level. Several delegates flinched. Security officers rushed. Alarms blared. The Falroon ambassador, a towering insectoid with blood-red armor, snarled. Human, what trick is this? Celine raised her hands gently. We have no involvement, but we can help. Another explosion shook the arena. A Vocari guard shouted. It's an attack. Someone is moving toward the energy core. The arena panicked. Celine's heartbeat never rose. Because humans already knew this would happen. A shadow organization called the Core Dominion had planned to destabilize the Concord Summit and assassinate 8 leaders. The attack was designed to plunge 3 star systems into war. Earth learned of the plot weeks earlier. And Earth sent its best diplomats. Celine stepped away from the platform. Her security escort, 2 quiet humans in dark uniforms, followed her. To aliens, they seemed soft, but their eyes left nothing unnoticed. Ambassador, her aide whispered. The assassins are moving. I know, Celine replied softly. Alien guards rushed past them. Celine walked the other way, downward, toward the explosions. The deeper they went, the more chaotic the halls became. Smoke, dead guards, Energy burns carved into walls. The Volcari elites were scrambling, unprepared for a stealth attack. They didn't understand. Humans thrived in chaos. And Celine had been waiting for this moment. At the lowest level, she found 3 heavily armed core infiltrators trying to hack the core shield. They towered over her, muscular, armored, and radiating violence. The lead assassin hissed. "A human diplomat? Here." Celine stepped forward, calm. "Not diplomat," she said softly. She took off her outer cloak. Beneath it was a sleek black tactical suit lined with microfilament armor. Her posture shifted. Her breathing slowed. Her eyes sharpened like blades. "Operative Celine Ward," she said. "Earth Special Protocol." "What protocol?" the assassin mocked. "The one for creatures like you." Then she moved. Not like any species in the galaxy. Faster, sharper, cleaner. She slid under the first alien's arm, struck his throat with 2 fingers, and twisted. His body dropped, convulsing. She deflected a plasma blade with her forearm shield, ducked, and fired a silent weapon into the second one's neural crest. The third assassin hesitated, fatal mistake. Celine lunged and pinned him to the wall. "Tell me who sent you." He spat alien blood. "You humans, you're not prey." "No," Celine whispered. "We're predators that learned to smile." Then she snapped his neck. By the time Concord security forces arrived, Celine had already restored the power shield, cleaned her suit, and resumed her diplomatic posture. She looked like a harmless negotiator again. The Volcari commander stared at her. "What happened here?" Celine gave a polite bow. "A small security issue," she said softly. "Resolved." The commander trembled. The galaxy had underestimated humans. It would not make that mistake for long. The Concord arena returned to order slowly, but the fear lingered like a cold mist. Delegates whispered to each other, eyes darting toward the humans. 20 minutes ago, they looked harmless. Now they looked dangerous. Very dangerous. Celine Ward stood once more in the high diplomat's circle, hands gently folded. She looked calm, almost delicate. But the alien leaders thought of the assassins she defeated alone and felt something new. Respect mixed with fear. The Volcari High Inquisitor's voice boomed across the chamber. "Human diplomat. Reports tell us you stopped the terrorists below. Is this true?" Celine bowed. "Not alone, Honorable Inquisitor. My team assisted." Her 2 human guards stood behind her. They remained expressionless. The guards moved like trained fighters, but their bodies were unarmored, unaugmented, and small compared to the giant aliens. Yet every alien watched them with caution now. The Thalrune ambassador clicked his mandibles anxiously. "We checked the bodies of the attackers. They were elite core Dominion infiltrators. 3 of the dead appear to have been killed by low-tech human strikes." He stared at her. "That should be impossible." Celine slowly exhaled. "We humans come from a world that tests us every day. Gravity presses hard. Our predators chase fast. Our storms destroy cities. Our land forces us to adapt. We learn to fight with weak tools and strong minds." Her eyes softened. "It is strange to you, I know. But Earth trained us this way." The chamber was silent. The galaxy had tried to measure humanity through technology. But humanity's strength was biological, mental, emotional, something the aliens had overlooked. The core Dominion's failed infiltration became the first spark. The next spark came the very next day. Celine returned to her quarters aboard the Human Union diplomatic ship Resolute. It was small, humble, like a simple embassy vessel. But every wall hid secret compartments, encrypted channels, and defense systems disguised as furniture. Her aide, Jalen Pierce, followed her inside. Jalen removed his diplomatic coat and revealed light armor underneath. "They're watching us," he said. "They should be," Celine replied. Jalen activated a hologram. "We intercepted a transmission. A hidden faction inside the Concord wants to vote against Earth gaining limited influence rights." Celine nodded. "Expected." Jalen pointed to a highlighted section. "But look here. The message says, if humanity resists, eliminate their diplomats quietly." Celine's eyes hardened. That means tonight, she said. Hours later, diplomatic halls quieted as delegates slept. Only soft blue lights glowed along long corridors. Celine walked alone, her steps calm, hands folded behind her back as if meditating. Her appearance was mild and peaceful. That was why the assassins didn't notice the trap. 5 masked intruders dropped from the ceiling, silent as shadows. They carried plasma daggers and injectors containing paralytic toxins meant to kill humans quickly. Celine did not look frightened. "Before you attack," she said softly, "I want to ask you a question." The assassins froze. Humans were supposed to scream, plead, or run. Celine simply turned her head and smiled at them. "Did the Concord Council hire you?" None spoke. "Or did a frightened empire pay you to make us disappear?" One assassin snarled. "Die quietly, human." He lunged. He never reached her. A hand grabbed his ankle from below and pulled. One of Celine's hidden operatives, Lieutenant Vara Kim, rose from under the floor panel she had removed hours earlier. She moved with the same deadly grace as Celine. Another assassin swung from the left, but Jalen Pierce appeared from a shadowed archway, throwing a small human-made device onto the ground. It flashed bright white. The aliens screamed. Their compound eyes were sensitive. Celine walked into the confusion with calm, deliberate steps. Her movements were like a dancer's, smooth, precise, beautiful and terrifying. She struck nerve clusters, hyperextend joints, and stunned the last attacker with a single hit to the throat. After 8 seconds, the hallway was silent except for gasping aliens unable to stand. Celine crouched beside the leader. "Tell your masters," she whispered, "that Earth did not send diplomats to beg for peace." She leaned closer. "We came to learn who fears us." Then she stood and stepped over the fallen bodies. Jalen exhaled shakily. "They'll try more attacks." "Yes," Celine said calmly, "and we will quietly end each one." "Should we tell the Concord?" he asked. Celine shook her head. "No, not yet. Let nations show their true colors first. It helps us understand the political landscape." Jalen smirked. "Diplomatic surveillance? Human patience," she corrected. "And human teeth." The next morning, the assassins' bodies were discovered. Concord security was baffled. Cameras had been looped, alarms disabled. It felt like a ghost army had swept through the hall. But the galaxy already suspected the truth. Humans were not just diplomats. They were predators pretending to negotiate. But something else was happening in the shadows, something bigger. Alien factions who once dismissed humans now scrambled. The Vokari sent spies to study human combat. The Thalruns started mapping Earth's military. The Galos Empire ordered a secret meeting. If humans are this dangerous as diplomats, what are their soldiers like? The galaxy was waking up to a terrible realization. They had invited humanity into politics too late. And humanity had come prepared. The silent war had begun. The galactic concord moved like a giant machine. Every day, treaties were argued, borders redrawn, trades negotiated. But under all that glittering diplomacy ran a thick river of fear. Fear of the humans. News of the 2 assassination attempts spread quickly, though no one knew officially that humans were the ones who stopped them. Rumors drifted like smoke. The terrorists vanished. Someone killed them with surgical precision. Their bodies had no plasma burns, only blunt trauma and crushed nerves. Only humans were nearby. Alien ambassadors watched Celine Ward with new eyes. She still smiled politely. She still bowed. She still spoke softly. But now every species wondered, is she smiling because she is friendly? Or because she already knows our secrets? That uncertainty was more powerful than any weapon Earth had. The human diplomatic ship Resolute hovered near the Concord Arena, attached by a docking arm. Inside the ship's briefing room, the human team sat around a holographic table. Celine Ward, Jalen Pierce, Lieutenant Vara Kim, Operative Rook Hale, Commander Darius Holt, the team's strategist. All wore civilian-style clothing. All were armed beneath it. Commander Holt tapped the hologram. We intercepted another encrypted message. A major political bloc, the Galos Dominion, is meeting secretly in 6 hours. Jalen frowned. What are they planning? Nothing friendly, Holt said. They believe humans are a threat. They want to push a resolution banning us from holding any Concord position. Varakim leaned back. So they're scared. Celine nodded. Scared people make stupid decisions. Some will try force again. Others will try diplomacy. She paused. We need information. We need leverage. Rook Hale smiled. A spy mission? Celine exhaled slowly. Not a spy mission. The others looked at her. A warning mission. Hours later, the Galos secret meeting began deep beneath the Concord arena. The Galos were a reptilian species, tall and armored naturally with thick bone plates. Their council chamber glowed with red and yellow light, making them look like shadows of fire. The Galos Prime Minister hissed. The humans are too skilled, too cunning. Their diplomats are not diplomats. A commander beside him growled. We should launch a preemptive strike on their ship. Crush them before they spread. Another minister shook his head. Too risky. Humans adapt fast. They might survive. The Prime Minister slammed his clawed fist. Enough. We will move through official channels. Political attack. A coordinated vote. A quiet voice interrupted. No, you won't. Every Galos froze. Celine Ward stepped out from the shadows of the chamber. Her presence was calm. Her hands empty. Yet every Galos warrior reached for a weapon instinctively. You, the Prime Minister hissed. Human diplomat. Celine bowed respectfully. You hold secret meetings, she said softly. We listened. You plan to block Earth. We understand. The commander snarled. You dare spy on the Dominion? No, Celine corrected. We watch everything near us. Surveillance is our habit. And what do you want? The Prime Minister demanded. Celine's expression softened into something almost mournful. Balance. The Galos erupted into laughter. Balance? You threaten us for balance. Celine's eyes sharpened. I don't threaten. I warn. She lifted a small object from her pocket, a circular device the size of a coin, and placed it on the table. What is that? The commander demanded. A gift, Celine said. The device projected a hologram of dozens of images. Not human spies, not assassinations, not weapons, blueprints, dozens of them. Human-designed starship improvements. Energy shields adapted from alien designs. Planet-based defense systems. FTL upgrades. The Prime Minister stared. This level of engineering, how? You are a young species. Every alien empire that ever tried to conquer Earth, Celine said softly, left something behind. Ruins, crystals, drives, weapons. Our ancestors learned quietly. They passed knowledge down. She stepped closer. We don't want to rule the galaxy, but we won't be ruled either. The Galos watched the holograms with widening eyes, some fearful, some intrigued. Celine continued, Earth star fleets are small now, but in 50 years, 100, we will grow, and we will remember who tried to destroy us at the beginning. Her voice dropped to a nearly whisper. And who chose cooperation? The Prime Minister stared at her. He was not a weak leader, but something in Celine's calm gaze shook him. What happens if we vote against you? He asked. Celine's smile returned. Nothing, she said gently. Officially. Silence. And unofficially? He whispered. We will survive, Celine said. You may not. She turned. Her steps were slow, quiet, respectful. But every Galos warrior moved aside instinctively. Something about her presence, small, soft, human, felt like a blade hidden behind silk. Before she exited, she glanced back. Think carefully, she said. Earth remembers everything. Then she left. The Galos meeting continued, but the tone had changed. Fear crept into the room like smoke. One minister whispered, These humans, we thought they were prey. No, the Prime Minister said softly. They are predators wearing diplomat clothes. When Celine returned to the Resolute, her team waited. Rook grinned. How scared did they look? Celine sat down, exhausted. Scared enough to hesitate. And hesitation is all we need right now. Commander Holt nodded. The political war has begun. Celine stared out the window toward the glowing Concord arena. No, she whispered. The real war began long before this. Her eyes hardened. And the galaxy still doesn't know what we're capable of. For 3 days after Celine infiltrated the Galos meeting, the Concord arena buzzed like an angry hive. Rumors flew through diplomatic halls. Suspicion spread across embassies like spilled ink. Everyone now believed the same dangerous truth. Humans were not just diplomats. They were something far more frightening. Some alien factions backed away from plots against Earth. Others doubled down. And one faction, the Core Dominion, prepared a strike that would change the galaxy forever. Inside the human diplomatic ship Resolute, Commander Darius Holt slammed a datapad down onto the table, face pale. Celine, we have a serious problem. Celine looked up from her reports of Concord voting shifts. Tell me. Holt projected a hologram of the Concord arena. Red indicators blinked across key points of the station, air vents, structural nodes, energy pipelines. Jalen Pierce leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Those are explosive placements. Worse, Holt said. Those are core plasma breacher charges. Military grade. Rook whistled. Those things can crack a battle cruiser. And they've placed 22 on the station, Vara Kim added. If even half detonate, the entire Concord arena collapses, along with every ambassador inside. Celine stared at the map. A coup. Holt nodded grimly. The Dominion plans to wipe out the Council, blame a human sabotage, and seize control of the galaxy. Rook leaned back. So this is it. The galaxy shoots first. Celine stood slowly, her calm mask slipping just enough for steel to show underneath. Not if we stop them. The team assembled in the Resolute's armory bay. Unlike human warships, the diplomatic vessel kept only small defensive gear. But hidden compartments contained what Earth called negotiator kits, weapons disguised as tools, electrosticks posing as data pens, microblades hidden inside greeting tablets, pulse emitters disguised as comm bracelets. Diplomats didn't carry guns. Assassins in diplomat clothes did. Jalen strapped a compact energy pistol into his sleeve. We're going into maximum risk zones. Vara checked a fiber wire spool. 22 charges. At least 50 core soldiers guarding them. We're outnumbered. Rook grinned. Good. They'll never expect 5 humans. Celine lifted a slim metallic rod, the silver diplomat baton. It looked ceremonial. In her hands, it was a weapon more dangerous than any sword. Remember, she said. Speed. Silence. No survivors. Commander Holt looked at her. Are we assassinating the Dominion operatives? Celine's expression was unblinking. They want to start a galactic war, she said softly. We must end one before it begins. The infiltration began hours before dawn. Humans entered through maintenance shafts using clearance codes Celine had borrowed from a corrupt Vocari official centuries ago. The aliens believed their systems were unbreakable. They had never met human cyber warfare. Inside the narrow tunnels, red hazard lights flickered. Core voices echoed through pipes. The team moved silently, hands brushing cold metal, feet placed with surgical care. At the first chamber, they encountered 6 core operatives installing a breacher charge. Their armor was heavy. Their weapons were large. Their bodies were nearly twice the size of Celine. She walked into the chamber like a ghost. The core turned, confused, surprised. Too slow. Celine's baton flashed. Once, twice, 3 times. Bones cracked. Armor folded. A core collapsed without making a sound. Rook and Vara moved behind 2 more, cutting their throats with fiber wire. Jalen shot the last with a silent pulse dart that fried its nervous system. 6 enemies dead in 9 seconds. Holt placed a disruption module on the breacher charge. Its lights flickered and shut off. 1 down, he said. 21 to go, Celine replied. The deeper they went, the harder the fighting grew. In one passage, a core squad ambushed them with plasma rifles. Humans dove behind beams, rolling under shots that turned metal into liquid. Celine slid across the floor, sweeping the legs of a giant core and stabbing upward through its throat. Vara hacked into the station vents and vented supercooled air, freezing a group of Dominion troops mid-charge. Rook set a sonic trap that disoriented enemies long enough for Jalen to strike with lethal precision. One by one, the charges were neutralized. But time was running out. At the final chamber, a massive energy junction, Celine's team froze. A huge core war commander stood there, his armor glowing bright red. The final charge was already armed. He laughed. A deep, monstrous growl. Humans, little diplomats with knives. Your galaxy bows today. Celine stepped forward. Not if you fall first. The war commander charged, ground shaking. Humans scattered. Plasma bolts tore through consoles. Holt was knocked into a wall. Vara jumped onto a railing. Rook's pulse pistol shattered. Celine faced the core alone. The commander swung a massive arm. Celine ducked. The blow crushed a steel pipe behind her. She moved like water. He moved like a collapsing mountain. Celine struck his joints, knee, elbow, throat. He barely flinched. His armor was too thick. Then she saw it. A weak point, glowing faintly under his ribs where two armor plates overlapped. She whispered, "Thank you," to no one, and she ran, straight toward him. He laughed. Foolish. But Celine slid under his attack, rolled between his legs, and drove her baton upward into the weak point with all her strength. The commander froze. Celine stood behind him, breathing steady. "Earth sends diplomats," she whispered. "But we were born fighters." The giant fell. Holt dragged himself up. Charge status. Celine knelt over the device. "We have 20 seconds. Jalen paled. "Can you disarm it?" Celine smiled faintly. "No." Silence. "But I can override the core conduit." She pressed a series of commands into the breacher. Flickered, beeped, then deactivated. The entire station stopped humming for a moment. Then alarms blared. Concord forces began to move. Vara sighed. "We need to leave. Now." Rook grinned. "We leave the way humans always do." Jalen smirked. "Running. Running," Celine agreed. They vanished minutes before Concord soldiers arrived and discovered 22 dead core teams, 22 dead charges, and one very confusing truth. Humanity had saved the Galactic Council. Again. Back aboard the Resolute, Holt turned to Celine. "This will change everything." Celine looked at the glowing Concord arena outside their window. "Yes," she whispered. "Now the galaxy knows humans cannot be defeated." She paused. "Next, they will learn we cannot be controlled." The attempted destruction of the Concord arena should have united the galaxy. Instead, it shattered it. Within hours, broadcasts spread across every major species. Terrorist attack against the Concord. Unknown forces target political leaders. Humans involved? Dominion silent as accusations rise. The Concord scrambled to understand what happened. The core Dominion denied everything. The Galos Dominion accused humans of staging the attack for sympathy. The Vocari demanded a full investigation. And through it all, the Human Union said nothing. Silence was more terrifying. Inside the human diplomatic ship Resolute, Celine faced the rest of her team around a long table. They were tired, blood-stained, and silent. Commander Holt broke it first. "The Council is calling for emergency hearings. They want humans to testify." Rook snorted. "Testify? They want to corner us. They want proof." Vara added, "If we show them everything, Earth loses its advantage. If we refuse, it looks like we're guilty." Celine looked at the dim hologram of the Concord chamber floating above the table. Ambassadors argued violently. Claws slammed into desks. Tentacles shook. Crystalline bodies flickered with agitation. "The galaxy is afraid," Celine said quietly. "Of the core Dominion?" Jalen asked. Celine shook her head. Of us. The emergency Concord meeting began at dawn. The chamber felt colder, darker. Hundreds of ambassadors stared down at the human delegation as if staring at a new predator. Celine walked alone to the center platform. No cloak, no makeup, no diplomatic softness. She stood in a simple black uniform. Nothing to hide. The Vocari High Inquisitor spoke first. Human Celine Ward. Explain how 22 charges were disarmed on this station, without any of our forces detecting the culprits. Celine answered calmly. Because your security systems are predictable. Gasped. The Galos Prime Minister slammed his claws onto the railing. Are you admitting Earth tampered with the station? Celine raised a single eyebrow. Are you admitting your security cannot stop terrorists? The entire chamber erupted with noise, shouts, anger, shock. Celine waited. When silence returned, she spoke clearly. We did not plant the charges. We did not seek destruction. We intervened because we were there, and because we saw the danger first. The Falrune ambassador leaned forward, antenna twitching. How did you discover the charges? Observation, Celine replied. Explain, the ambassador hissed. Celine's eyes softened, almost sad. You do not understand humans, she said quietly. You watch our technology. You judge us by our ships, our small fleets, our lack of telepathy or advanced biology. She looked around the chamber. None of you consider our minds. That quiet sentence hit the room like a punch. She continued, we come from a world that tries to kill us from the moment we are born. We navigate storms that your species would call extinction events. We grow up with predators that hunt silently from forests, oceans, and skies. We survive diseases that mutate faster than any model predicts. We live on a planet constantly shifting under our feet. Her gaze sharpened. We learned to notice everything. The crystalline Trilari delegate whispered, everything? Celine nodded slowly. Patterns, body language, shadows, footsteps, temperature shifts, micro changes in pressure. Vara, watching from the upper balcony, whispered to Holt, she's revealing too much. Holt shook his head. No, she's revealing exactly what scares them. Celine continued, when you walk, you make 6 vibrations in the floor. When a core soldier walks, it makes 9. When core armor heats up before activation, the air smells like burnt zinc. When breacher charges power up, lights dim by 0.3%. Aliens across the chamber looked at each other nervously. We noticed all of it. Her voice grew softer. And we acted. The Concord chamber fell silent. Aliens were starting to understand. Humans were observant beyond their technology. They read the universe like a predator tracking prey. Finally, the Galos Prime Minister spat. Why help us? Why save the Concord? You could have let us burn. Celine stepped forward. Because we want peace. But not peace built on slavery or fear. Peace built on choice. The chamber vibrated with tension, uncertainty, shifting alliances. Then Celine said the words that froze everyone. And because we already know the Dominion plans to blame humans for the attack. Their fleets are mobilizing toward Earth. A ripple of dread passed through the hall. The Vocari Inquisitor asked in a whisper, how do you know this? Celine met his eyes. Because we intercepted their fleet orders before they did. For a moment, every alien's mind stopped. Intercepted before the Dominion itself received the commands? That was impossible. The chamber erupted again. Panic, anger, disbelief. Celine let them yell, let them fear. Then she raised one hand. Silence. We are not your enemy, she said softly. But we will defend ourselves. And we will defend balance. Her next words were heavy. If any fleet moves toward Earth, we will break it. Stunned whispers filled the arena. A small species, a young species, a species with tiny fleets, had just threatened a galactic superpower. And yet, no one laughed. For the first time, the galaxy believed humans might actually be able to do it. After the hearing, Celine returned to the Resolute. Her team waited, tense. Holt asked. Did it work? Celine closed her eyes. It worked enough. Then what now? Jalen asked. Celine turned toward the window, staring at the stars. Now, she said softly, the Dominion will strike. Rook grinned. And we strike back? Celine shook her head. No. Her voice became ice. We strike first. The core Dominion did not wait long. Hours after the Concord meeting, long-range sensors across the galaxy picked up a terrifying signal. The Dominion's first armada, a war fleet of over 1,000 ships, was moving out of its home system. Not toward the Concord. Not toward the border worlds. Toward Earth. Their plan was simple. Strike fast. Strike hard. Crush humanity before its influence grew. Every species expected humans to panic. Instead, Earth went silent. No broadcast. No plea for help. No threat response. Just silence. That silence terrified the galaxy more than any war cry. On the bridge of the human diplomatic ship Resolute, Commander Holt stared at the incoming Dominion fleet reports. His face was pale, but his eyes were sharp. Ambassador Celine, the Dominion fleets will cross into neutral space in 6 hours. Rook wiped sweat from his forehead. We can't stop 1,000 ships. Celine didn't move. She watched the stars with calm, cold focus. I know, she said softly. Earth knows too. Vara bit her lip. Then why isn't the Union mobilizing? Why no fleet launch order? No evacuation signals? Celine finally turned. Because this time, she said, we will not meet them at Earth. Holt frowned. Then where? Celine tapped the star map. A small, unremarkable red star blinked. We intercept them here. In the Belt Has corridor. Rook blinked. That's a debris field. A graveyard of asteroids. Impossible to navigate. Celine nodded. Exactly. The Dominion must pass through single file. Their ships cannot maneuver. Their sensors fail. Their weapons misfire. Perfect for an ambush. Holt stared. You want to ambush 1,000 ships with one? Celine smiled gently. No. With 5. Hours later, the Resolute linked with 4 other small human vessels. Not cruisers. Not battleships. Diplomatic ships. A laughingstock by galactic military standards. But their weapons bays hid something no alien had ever seen. When human diplomats were designed decades earlier, someone in Earth Command made a controversial decision. All diplomatic ships carry classified stealth weapons systems. Not for attack, but for assassination protection. Now, humanity was about to reveal those secrets. In the briefing bay, Celine addressed the crews of all 5 ships. Listen carefully, she said, voice steady. We are not here to defeat the Dominion's first armada. We cannot. Not in open space. She pointed to the hologram of the Belt Has corridor. But we can break their formation long enough to delay them. And we can make the galaxy fear picking this fight. Rook raised an eyebrow. Fear us? More than they already do. Celine looked at him. After today, they won't fear humans. She paused. They will respect us. The core Dominion armada entered the Belt Has corridor like a tidal wave. Gigantic red warships. Predator-class destroyers. Carrier beasts the size of mountains. Screens of fighters buzzing ahead like angry insects. The lead corps commander, High Marshal Dravik, watched the passage ahead. His ship filled the channel like a monstrous beast squeezing through a cave. Hail Earth, he ordered. Remind them of their fate. His communications officer tapped controls. High Marshal, Earth sends no response. Dravik smiled. They hide. Weak prey. Then a ping. A small blip appeared on sensors. High Marshal, there is a vessel ahead. One vessel? Destroy it. Moments later, the tiny signature grew clearer. The Resolute, a single human diplomatic ship, floating calmly in the middle of the corridor. The commander sneered. They send a messenger? Fools. He opened a channel. Human vessel. This is the Dominion Armada. Surrender and prepare for boarding. Celine's voice came through softly. No, the High Marshal hissed. Then die. Marshal? Celine cut in. Before you attack, I want to show you something. The Dominion fleet paused. For the first time in millennia, an entire armada hesitated at the voice of a human diplomat. Celine continued, "You think we hide. You think we fear. You think we avoid war." Her tone darkened. "You're wrong." A soft, repeated sound came from the Resolute. A signal. Short, sharp, click, 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 click. A code. Humanity's ancient language of battle. Morse. Earth's fleets, hidden in debris and shadows along the corridor walls, received it instantly. The Dominion did not. Celine finished. "We do not hide. We prepare." Then the stars exploded. From asteroid shadows, from debris clouds, from disguised mining rigs, for hidden human diplomatic ships decloaked. They unleashed weapons no alien had ever seen. Gravity-laced torpedoes, EMP nets that wrapped entire destroyers, micro-singularity charges, pulse webs that melted shields, nanite shrouds that turned engines into slag. Dominion ships buckled, shields collapsed, engines died, fighters spiraled in confusion. The corridor became a graveyard of drifting metal. The Dominion armada panicked. "We are pinned. Our engines are failing. Unknown technology. Nothing matches database signatures." Celine's voice echoed across open channels. "You invade our world expecting weakness." Another explosion lit the corridor. "You press toward our home expecting fear." Human torpedoes shattered the lead carrier. "You underestimate us expecting victory." She paused. "But humans are not prey." Her voice turned ice cold. "We are the species that kills the predators." The corridor burned with broken Dominion ships. Only a fraction of the 1,000 survived the first attack. High Marshal Dravik stared at the chaos around him in horror. "Retreat!" he screamed. "Retreat!" They fled. Humanity had stopped them. 5 small diplomatic ships had broken a galactic armada. The galaxy watched in shock. The race they underestimated was the race they should have feared all along. Back aboard the Resolute, Celine finally let her shoulders relax. Holt approached. "We just made the galaxy afraid of us." Celine turned to him, eyes steady. "Good," she whispered. "They haven't seen anything yet." The entire galaxy shook. News of the belt has ambush spread in minutes. Every major species replayed the footage. 5 tiny human diplomatic ships breaking a 1,000-ship armada. A single human voice commanding a retreat. Core warships fleeing in terror. The galaxy had always believed strength came from massive fleets, ancient empires, and biological superiority. Then humans arrived and shattered every rule. Inside the human diplomatic ship Resolute, Celine Ward sat alone in her quarters. She stared at a small silver pin in her hand, the symbol of Earth's diplomatic corps. It was simple, unadorned, unassuming, just like humans. A voice chimed through her calm. Jalen Pierce spoke softly. "Ambassador, the Concord has summoned an emergency session. Every leader will attend." Celine closed her hand around the pin. "It's time," she whispered. The Concord arena had never been so tense. Delegates crowded the chamber in fear and awe. Some looked angry, some humbled, some terrified. All eyes turned as Celine Ward entered. She walked calmly to the center platform. No weapons, no armor, no entourage, just humanity. When she stood on the glowing circle, the room dimmed. Protocol demanded silence. She let the moment breathe. Then she spoke. "Honored delegates," she began softly. "You now know what happens when someone attacks Earth." Murmurs, uneasy shifting. "But today," she continued, "we speak not of war. Today we speak of the truth." Her voice grew more powerful. "You feared humans because we are different. We adapt. We survive. We fight in ways you cannot predict. That frightens you." She let the truth hang. "But you never asked why we fight like that." The Trilari crystalline ambassador asked carefully. "Then why?" Celine lifted her chin. "Because our world taught us to. Because our history forced us to. Because survival made us clever." Because loss made us strong. She looked directly at the core Dominion ambassador, who sat trembling. And because we learned early that diplomacy means nothing unless you can defend it. Silence. Deep quiet. Celine continued. When the Dominion came for us, you believed Earth would beg. Humanity did not beg. The chamber lights flickered, emphasizing every word. We sent diplomats. She smiled. And diplomats who can end wars with words must also be able to end threats without them. Aliens shifted uncomfortably. Some leaned forward. Some leaned away. Celine paced slowly around the circle. You ask yourselves, what else are humans hiding? The answer is simple. She stopped. Everything that keeps us alive. On the Dominion side, the core ambassador rose shakily. You have violated every law of concord. You armed diplomats. You concealed military capability. Celine did not look at him. She looked at everyone. We concealed our strength, she said. Because you told us we were weak. A whisper passed through the hall like wind. You told us we were prey. You told us we were unimportant. You told us to stay quiet, stay small, stay humble. She stared at the core ambassador finally. You told us we didn't matter. She raised a hand toward the hollow display above her. It flickered on. Not weapons, not threats, but images. Images of thousands of humans across worlds. Doctors saving alien children. Engineers rebuilding fallen stations. Diplomats solving border wars. Human ships escorting refugee vessels through pirate lines. Celine's voice softened. We hide our claws because we want peace. But peace does not mean weakness. She pointed to the still flickering image of the Belt Has corridor. Dominion ships burning under human fire. We will never start a war. Her voice sharpened. But if war comes to us, we will finish it. The Vocari Inquisitor whispered. How did you do it? How did you defeat 1,000 ships? Celine answered with a small smile. We used the same thing humanity has always used to survive impossible odds. She lifted her hand. Ingenuity, courage, teamwork, and a deep, ancient, unstoppable instinct. The lights focused on her eyes. Fierce, brilliant, human. To protect our home. Then she delivered the final blow, quiet and lethal. We do not want to rule you. We do not want tribute. We do not want fear. Her voice echoed like a storm. We want respect. Her final sentence made every species shiver. And if you can't give us that, you will give us distance. Silence detonated like a bomb. No species had ever spoken so boldly to the entire galaxy. But no species had ever survived what humans survived. After a long, trembling moment, the Galos Prime Minister stood. We were wrong about humanity. The Vocari Inquisitor rose. You are dangerous, terrifying, unpredictable. Celine waited. Then he added softly, and necessary. The Trilari ambassador lifted her crystalline hand. I request that Earth be granted a permanent seat on the Concord High Council. Shock, gasps, whispers. Then, one by one, species after species, stood and spoke, seconded, agreed. For humanity. They defended us. They earned it. They frightened us, but they saved us. The core Dominion remained silent, broken, humbled, defeated. Celine bowed her head, not in victory, but respect. Thank you, she said softly. Humanity will not forget your trust. Later, aboard the Resolute, Holt, Jalen, Vara, and Rook gathered around her. Rook grinned. You did it. Earth has a high council seat. Holt crossed his arms. And the galaxy fears us. Celine corrected gently. They respect us now. Jalen leaned back. So what does Earth do next? Celine looked out the window at the stars. Now, she said, voice warm and proud, we build peace. We build alliances. We build the future. She smiled. A real smile, soft and human. And if someone tries to break that peace, her eyes flashed with that quiet assassin fire. They will learn again what the galaxy learned today. She whispered the final truth of humanity. Never underestimate humans. The end.